Let's go to the nation's capital with U.S. Senator John McCain. Senator, thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you, John, and I'm glad to hear that you're coming to help me try to do the Lord's work in the city of Satan here, and look forward to being on your show live, as I'm sure a number of my friends are when you come to town.
Well, indeed, we'll look forward to that. By the way, Senator, a lot of people talking about, those so-and-so's going to run against John McCain, and, we've got this wealthy city council in Tucson. No one, Senator, can beat John McCain in Arizona. It's not a contest. J.D. Hayworth can't carry your luggage, and I don't want you to worry about it, Senator. You have another 6 years in the United States Senate, so just think about what you're going to do, and don't worry about these people back here. No one can beat you here. I know politics as well as anybody in the state. I've done this for 40 years. No one can touch you, Senator. It's the truth. Don't worry about it.
Well, I thank you for those kind words, and as you know, like any good politician, I take every challenge seriously, I take every race seriously, and I take this race seriously. I'm very grateful for the support of the people of the state of Arizona, but I know I have to work very hard, and I will continue to work hard. And right now it's the economy and the economy and the economy. And by the way, if I could segue, you know what, we're in this fight on healthcare right now, and it has been probably one of the more interesting episodes that I have observed. But could I also mention, before I do that, on the Afghanistan issue, I listened to Bruce Ash's commentary. I agree with it. The only thing I'm concerned about, as you probably know, I support this. I want it to succeed. I would have liked to have seen 40,000 instead of 30,000, a couple other things. But the thing that bothers me is this exit date. And General McChrystal was asked yesterday if he had suggested this exit date that the president talked about of mid-July 2011, and of course he said no. And the purpose of warfare is to break the will of the enemy, and if you tell them when you're leaving, that makes it all the harder to do, right?
I believe that to be true. By the way, are we going to get any more help from our European allies or anyone else in the world? Have you heard, or has there been suggestions that others will gather with us in this quest to rid the Afghanistan of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda? What do you hear?
I hear there is some, and I'm grateful for any contribution that any of our allies will supply, but let me give you a little straight talk. There is no soldier, there is no fighting man or woman of the caliber, quality, training, and equipment of the men and women who are serving in our military, and I appreciate our allies. I'm very grateful, but I've also got to tell you that some of our allies have rules of engagement that are handed down by their governments that make them very, very ineffective. For example, there's one country, they can't leave their the area in which they live at night. There's another country that my understanding is that they can't fire unless they're fired on. There's nothing that is of the caliber. There's no one that is of the caliber of the men and women who are serving in America's military. They're just the best in the world.
You talked in a recent news conference here about much of the stimulus bill has been a failure. You cited numerous items of waste of money. First of all, was there anything you liked about the stimulus package? Some say, well, we would have gone off the cliff. We were at the precipice of disaster, and the stimulus brought us back from the edge of the end of the world and financially. There was waste money. First of all, anything good about the stimulus and your objections to the expenditure of millions you felt were wasteful?
Well, first of all, I'm sure it must have created some jobs. I mean, you can't throw that kind of money. So there's been some job creation, although the cost per job has been incredibly high. But the most important thing, John, is that we have committed generational theft. We have laid a debt on future generations of Americans of $1.4 trillion this year, $12 trillion over the next 10 years, at the best estimates, and they want us to keep spending. Did you see the president now wants to spend the TARP money? The TARP, in law, was that excess funds had to be given back to the Treasury. What does it do when it goes back to the Treasury? It reduces the debt that we're laying on our kids and our grandkids. And now, what are they going to try to do? And they may do it because they have the votes, is take the additional TARP money and start throwing it at things like Cash for Clunkers and all of these other programs that have not worked. And we have we Twitter, and if anybody wants to follow us, we will be every day publishing what we call the stimulus stinker of the day. And I'm telling you, they are amazing. They are amazing expenditures of taxpayers' dollars that have taken place.
You know, I'm reading the L.A. Times for the day. It says, the fight's back in Mccain. Arizona senator, political celebrity, takes a spot at the front lines of the Republicans' opposition to Obama. I didn't recall you stop fighting or lose any fight. I've never known you to be serene in any sense of the word. But that's what the L.A. Times says today, Senator.
Well,
the fight's back in John McCain.
I think what that a lot of people after I lost, it's tough to lose. You know that, John. And
believe me, I do.
That they thought that maybe I would sulk or grow a beard or like Al Gore did or something like that. Look, the best cure when you have a setback like that or lose an election, get back in the arena, start fighting, and then, of course, Arizona's economy is so in such terrible shape. I've got to work. We've got to work for jobs. We've got to get a copper miner going up in Superior. We've got to get Snowball to be able to make snow so that they can create jobs. We've got to make sure that Luke Air Force Base comes to Tucson. That the F-35 comes to Tucson International Airport for all the training that we do of the Guard and foreign people who are our allies there. It's jobs and jobs and jobs in the economy and the economy and the economy, and I'm working night and day for it, and I feel so bad. I feel so bad for some of the people in Arizona at town hall meetings that have just lost everything. John, you meet them. You hear from them on the show. You see them. It's terrible what's going on. So what did we do? We bailed out Wall Street, and now they're making billions in profits. In Main Street, people are hurting with a 10% unemployment rate. In Arizona, a 17% real unemployment rate. It's obscene what they've done.
Senator, we've talked with the State Treasurer, Dean Martin, numerous times. Talked to him last week, talked to him the week before that. We've talked with leaders of the House and the Senate and talked to the governor's office. This state is in real trouble. I mean, they're thinking about another special session to try to deal with something, perhaps put a sales tax increase on the ballot as the governor wants so badly. But I'm going to tell you something. Here's the state treasurer saying, look, our credit card is now expired. We can't borrow any more money. We're sitting here $1.6 billion, leading to what will be probably another $2 or $3 billion. States spending $10 billion, and we're bringing in $8 billion. So, I mean, we're swimming in red ink. This state is in, I'll tell you, I've followed it for 40 years, and you have as well. Yep. This state is in terrible trouble, Senator.
It's in terrible trouble, and I would put a great deal of the blame on our failure to act. You mentioned TARP. TARP was supposed to stabilize the housing market. It was the housing market collapse that, because of the derivatives and the greed and all that triggered this economic crisis that we're in, right? So I believed and was assured by Geithner and, Paulson and Bernanke that if we voted the TARP, that they would do everything necessary to adjust home values and prices. So, what did they do? Instead of that, they started giving all this hundreds of billions of dollars to the Wall Street financial institutions, didn't help the community banks, cut off lines of credit, and now we have 48% of the homes in the state of Arizona are, quote, underwater. In other words, they are worth less than the payments that are being made. Think about the implications of that. By the way, Nevada is number 1 with 65. We're number 2 in the country. And what we needed to do way back then was to go out and buy people's mortgages, give them a mortgage that they could afford, at the payments they could afford, and keep them in their homes. Instead, we bailed out Wall Street, and I'll tell you, there's a DVD, I think it was Frontline or PBS, called American Casino. Have you seen that?
No, actually, I haven't.
Bring me that, would you, Alan? We have really great up-to-date communications here.
Yes, you do.
In my
megaphone is good, yes.
I'll tell you what it's called. It's called American Casino. When you're on the Wall Street's casino, you play by their rules. It's called American Casino. I recommend it. It is a terrific documentary that talks about how the subprime mortgage mess caused the financial collapse, and it is hard on the people that it should be on, and that's the regulators who didn't regulate and the Wall Street people who literally, these people should be in jail.
Senator, before I let you go, we obviously saw this this movement back toward another look at this reform of medical insurance in the country. Is this 55 Medicare dropping the age limit? Is that any solution to this? Will Democrats find the votes to get this through now that they? What's your prediction? What's going to happen here?
They're scrambling frantically. They haven't been able to get all of their 60 votes. And basically what this does, they want to expand Medicare down to eligibility of age 55. What does that do? What that does is people who can't get insurance otherwise sign up. That increases the cost of Medicare. It expands Medicare, which has gone broke in 5 or 6 years anyway, according to the trustees. And the hospitals and the AMA and the Hospital Association, who have, in my view, unconscionably supported the bill up at this time, are now against that because Medicare patients that hospitals and doctors are reimbursed for patient care that are enrolled in Medicare at a lower level than they do for regular patients. You expand this more, then that puts more of a financial burden on the hospitals and the doctors. And you know how the AMA supported it, and the American Hospital Association, these others, they made deals with all of them. It's really one of the most unsavory processes I've ever observed here. Well, now they're all up in arms because they obviously believe that would hurt them. I think it would be a terrific mistake to expand Medicare in that fashion, but Harry Reid is scrambling around trying to get the votes. I don't think it'll work, and I guarantee you I am spending more time on the floor of the Senate than I have on any issue, and we've had vigorous debate on it, and I think it's shifted American public opinion rather dramatically to saying, scrap this, let's start all over. Let's have medical malpractice reform. Let's let people go across state lines and get the policy they want. Let's let small businesses join together and negotiate with insurers for policies of their choice. Let's have outcome-based treatment. Let's reward wellness and fitness. There's all kinds of things we can do, John, and I'm convinced that if the Democrats would ever sit down with us and negotiate seriously, we might be able to help out the American people, not destroy the highest quality health care in the world, and that's in the United States of America. And you've traveled the world, and you know that from your experience.
Well, Senator, thank you so much for spending some time with us, alluding to your communication situation in the office. We're going to bring a couple of tin cans and some string there and get it on the air. So, I don't know how antiquated your equipment is there, but we'll make it work, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Senator, to you and your family, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you. We got to know them so well last year. I wasn't so much aware of how bright your wife was, or I didn't know her well, and of course Megan became one of my favorites of all time, and so getting to know your family was a wonderful part of that entire experience. So I wish them all a Merry Christmas, as does all our audience, and look forward to talking with you soon and being with you soon as well, Senator.
Thank you, my friend, and I'll see you down in Tucson, or I'll see you here in where all your money is.
Where all my money is
Okay,
going, yeah, indeed. Thanks, Senator.
Thank you, bye.
That U.S. Senator John McCain on the John C. Scott Talk Show again.